Are you weirdly loyal to your limiting beliefs? Do you find them hard to shake, even though you know that you don't want to live that story anymore? Hi, my name is Abby Drew, and on this channel we talk manifestation and do tarot and guidance cards readings so that you can live your best life and reach your full potential. I have been on a manifestation journey for the last 5 years, and I have transformed my life, but more importantly, I have transformed how I feel and see myself, and my life has just gotten better and better every year. My sister asked me the other day what has been my favorite year of my life so far, and I honestly said every year is my favorite year, because every year I'm like, this one was the best so far. So I hope you can join me on this journey, and today we're talking all about limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are thoughts that you believe are wholeheartedly true, and they're often negative. They often stop you from doing the things that you want to do, from living the life you want to live. And they can also stop you from seeing the beautiful things in front of you. They limit your perspective and your perception of your life, and they also limit the behaviors that you do because of the restrictive belief you have. Where do limiting beliefs come from? They come from everywhere. They can come from TV, they can come from friends, they can come from siblings, they can come from things that happened to you when you were 5. They can build up over time. They can come from seemingly nowhere. Sometimes it's hard to trace back to when we started believing something. And that makes it even more difficult to unstick the belief, because we're like, we always thought this, we always knew this. And so it makes you believe that it is true. Remember, you always have control over what you believe and what you think. There is no such thing as something always being true if you compose a different thought to it. For example, a limiting belief might be that I can never make enough money. This is a limiting belief because it is stopping you from taking actions that would allow yourself to make more money. It is limiting your worldview about what you can achieve. And it's a belief because it's not true. And it's not true because there is another person right next to you in life who started from the same situation as you and has made more and more money. So there's a counterexample. So therefore your belief is not categorically true. The most common limiting beliefs are things like, I'm not lovable, no one loves me, I'm super ugly, I fail at everything, nothing good ever happens to me, I have to try really hard to get people to like me. I have to try really hard to get the things I want. I'm never recognized for my value. I'm always misunderstood. Things like that. They are negative. They are normally always or 100% like extreme statements, and they are not true. I'm going to give you a real world example from my life where my own beliefs and someone else's own limiting beliefs clashed. And this will prove that our views of the world shape our experiences of how we see things and what we're open to. So I have been growing on TikTok recently. I have been increasing in followers. I think I'm up to about 7,000 and something followers now. And this week I recently had a video get to 1.1 million views, and now it's up to 1.5. But it was a huge deal for me, and I was very excited, and all the comments were so lovely and it was beautiful, and I got so many new followers, and it was a very exciting time. And I went to tell this to my mum. Now, I love my mum. I love her so much. She's taught me so much about being a strong woman, and she's incredible. But she's a human too, and she has her own limiting beliefs, just like I do, just like you do. And so I went and told her, and she was like, her first reaction was like, oh, are people being nice to you? Like, are there any hate comments? Are you safe? Like, will anyone be able to track you down from it? And her mind went immediately to what could go wrong, about people hating me, about me having a negative experience, about social media being bad, scary, dangerous, etc. And I don't have that belief at all about social media. In fact, all my experiences have been beautiful and positive, and I love responding to people in the comments, and it makes my day. So I was like, oh no, like that's not even in my perception. And we had actually just had a conversation about manifestation before this, because I was telling her about my manifestation success stories from my daily manifesting, which you may have heard me talk about in other videos. And she was curious about it, and she had started asking me questions about manifestations. So I took this as a moment to teach her something important about manifestation. I was like, Mom, this is a great example of manifestation, because for me, I don't even have in my worldview, my perception, that anyone would comment a negative comment, or that anyone would try and do something evil or bad to me through social media. My perception and my belief is that it's all positive. There are people love me, people appreciate what I have to put out, people write loving comments and they like it, and it makes their day, and it makes my day to see their comments. And that's my belief about social media. And I was like, I don't even have it in my peripheral or anything, any worries or doubts about how people might receive me on social media. And I said to her, and that's all that I've experienced. Like, I haven't experienced one bad thing on social media. And she was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, so I don't even consider it. That's not even in my perception. So even if it was to happen to me, I would automatically dismiss it or disregard it because it's not in my belief or my perception of the world that I live in. But for Mum, her world was a completely different view of social media. And so her perception of my success with my video earlier in the week immediately was restricted and tainted by her negative beliefs about social media. But we both experienced and had a vision, a reaction to this same event in very different ways because of our beliefs surrounding the event. So this is one example where two very different belief systems, one limiting, one positive and open, clashed, even though we were talking about the same event. So this is a great example that limiting beliefs are not true. They're not categorically true across the board, and they are what you make them. Limiting beliefs frame the world that you see. They frame your lens that you look at life with, and they frame what you believe is possible for you. It's really important to identify them, understand where they came from, and be able to process them and let them go if you no longer want to live that story. So let's say you are going on a first date with someone. It's the first time you're meeting them. And in the moment of the date, you're having a really great time, you're chatting away, you feel good, you're not thinking about anything. And then the date finishes and they say, would you like to go on a second date? And you say yes, and you're really excited. And then you get in your car going home from the date and you start to have these panicky thoughts. What if I had something in my teeth? What if I looked terrible eating the tacos? Or what if they realize between now and when we go on our second date that they don't like me and that they actually hated me? And what if this person ghosts me? All these thoughts, doubts creep up. All those negative thoughts and doubts are stemming from a key belief that you hold. And in this example, that belief might be, I'm unlovable, I'm unattractive, no one wants to be with me, no one wants to be in a long-term relationship with me, I've never been in a long-term relationship and I never will be. Things like that. The main one there would be, I'm not worthy of a relationship, or I am unlovable would be the big umbrella beliefs underpinning those doubts. So when this happens to you, and these doubts creep in and these negative thoughts that don't feel very good at all and will make you close yourself off, in this example, to that other person. You want to, one, catch them, catch yourself thinking about them, and then ask yourself, is this true? Do I know this for a fact? For example, you have the thought, I must have looked really ugly when I was eating my taco. Could you see yourself eating the taco? No. Did anyone say that you looked ugly while you were eating the taco? No. Do you have any proof about that being true? No. If you're not a person who's super into like sort of the woo sort of like manifestation stuff, take this as if you were a scientist and you were doing a test on the speed of an electron through a specific magnetic field, for example, then you wouldn't have a belief about what the speed should be and then go to the experiment, test it, measure the speed, and then if it's different to what you expected or believed it to be, the scientist wouldn't be like, oh, no, it was always actually the speed that I thought it was. It would look at the measurement and say, oh, my belief or my hypothesis must have been wrong. And so that's what we're doing here with our thoughts. The doubt or the thought that creeped in is like a hypothesis about your experience. And you want to question that. And when we question it, it's not like, how many things can I think of to prove this negative thought? It's more like, is this a true statement? Let's talk about letting the beliefs go and changing them. Being able to let go of that they are true mentality, that begins with the question of, is this definitely true? Like, the sun is out right now, that is definitely a true statement. Whereas the statement, I will never succeed at anything, is not true. Because one, I haven't lived my whole life yet. Two, have I tried everything that I'm going to try my whole life yet? No. Do I know that I will never succeed at anything? No, I don't know, because I actually cannot see that. Question the validity of those thoughts. Secondly, we want to trace back to see, where did those thoughts come from? Were they someone else's words that we took on board? Is it a common theme that we see in TV shows or movies? Most of the time, these thoughts either are not yours or they developed at an early stage in your life before you had the maturity and the tools to cope with the things you were being faced with. Reframing can be easier. I would suggest that it's done in little steps. So for example, we go back to the date example. So this person's having lots of doubts creep in, lots of negative self-beliefs, lots of limiting beliefs around love and relationships. So they have the thought, I am unlovable, or I will never find love, or it's been so difficult, it's always so hard to find love. The next thought process that can help you unstick from there could be, how many people in my life love me? You could list friends, you could list a pet, you could list family members. You could also ask yourself, have I met everyone who's going to love me? No. You haven't met everyone in the world, so you don't know. You can't prove that there's no one on this earth that would love you. Secondly, from the thought that I am unlovable, that's the umbrella belief there. I want you to question that. So that was the previous step, question it. And then the next step is find a new thought that's maybe just slightly different. Because sometimes it's hard to make a big jump. Like it's hard to jump from I am unlovable to everybody loves me and it's so easy to love me. That can be a big jump for some people. So we might start with I am unlovable. The next step might be I have some good qualities about me. Even if it's just giving yourself a little tiny bit of love. So I am unlovable. I have some qualities that are lovable. Then maybe you want to jump to, most of the time I'm a lovable person, or I know people who love me. Okay, next step. The next step might be, I am on my way to being in a loving relationship. I am always on my way to being in a loving relationship. And then we build and build and build up to I am lovable and I am in a loving relationship, or I am lovable and I deserve a loving relationship. And it's easy for me to be in a loving relationship, and it's easy for me to be loved, and it's easy for other people to love me because I'm so lovable. And then you're building from the one extreme to the next. It's now extremism is normally not seen as a positive thing, but it's much better to be on the extreme openness and positive end of the scale than it is to be in the restrictive, negative end of the scale. Because wouldn't you much rather be up here than be down here? Another thing is to let go of the truth of your negative beliefs. Just like with the example with my mum, her beliefs around social media were not true. They were true for her, but they weren't true for me. So you need to let go that there is an absolute truth to your beliefs. These beliefs definitely feel 100% true for you, and I totally get that. It's more like you feel it and you're like, this is true for me, but it's not true for other people. Maybe that means that I could change my truth as well. And even that is just a little thought that can take you from these are absolutely 100% true to there's a possibility that this isn't true. And then once you've accepted the possibility that this belief is potentially not true, you can then move to forming a new belief that maybe feels a little bit better. If you're trying to form a new belief, it's a good idea to try and form evidence for it, because your brain is always looking for evidence of the things that you believe. So just like in the example with the person going on the date and the I am unlovable belief, and we talked about looking for people who do love you in your life, like your friends, like your pet, like your family members. Once you found a belief that feels a little bit better than your limiting belief that you currently hold, I want you to try and find evidence for it. So maybe you write this down in your journal and you write the old belief, and lots of people do like a reverse. So let's say you write in your journal, I am unlovable. Then on the next page you'd write, I am so lovable, or I am the most lovable person in the world. And then even if you don't believe it yet, I want you to write down little pieces of evidence. So it might be like, a dog came up to me today and wanted me to pat him. Because that's the dog is showing that I love you, I'm gravitating towards you. Another one might be, the sun shone on me today and I felt warm. That's the sun giving you love. It's all about how you frame things. Another one might be, a customer smiled at me today at work. That's another human being saying, I see you and I like you. And then if you've got examples of friends, which I'm sure you do, and family members, then you write those down as well. You might also write what you perceive as positive qualities that you have. So I am lovable because I am kind. I am lovable because I am empathetic. I am lovable because I am funny, for example. So that's how we're going to unstick and create a new belief. The thing I want to drive home is limiting beliefs can be so difficult to let go of because of this feeling of truth to them and the longevity of them, that you've held them for so long. So it can be hard to let go of them. But just because you've held them for so long doesn't mean they're true, and doesn't mean you should continue to hold on to them either. If you're suffering in life or struggling or restricting yourself, restricting your joy and happiness because of a belief that you hold and you've held it for so long, the way you're going to change where you're at is by changing that belief. And so give yourself the opportunity to believe something new. If it wasn't working for you then, and if it's made you miserable, it's not going to work for you in the future. Let it go. Let yourself believe something new. These are not true beliefs. They come from all different places of our life, and we get to decide the world we want to live in and how we want to see it. So please do yourself a favor and try and let go of those negative beliefs by identifying them, questioning them, and then working on replacing them. My name is Abbey. I'm so happy to be talking about manifestation and guidance with you. Subscribe and follow for more. Bye.